also know that all these are going to be available for viewing tomorrow morning. Generally, I'm going to put these up, try to put them up first thing when I get into the office tomorrow morning. If you do need to review any of the recordings. Again, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch all of these. Today, looks like Monday, the 17th, we got a pretty busy thing we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at season management, the configuration tab. We're going to be looking at online registration, adding in a schedule, removing events from the schedule, how sanctioned events work for specific dates, how to use those sanctioned classes, and adding and utilizing online tickets. So that is quite a few different things here. So we're just going to hit the ground running with that. Again, if anybody has any questions as you're going through things, you can hit Alt and H. That'll bring up the chat window. If you ask a question, I will get to it. We'll have a specific time for questions when we get to the end there that will answer any questions that you have. If it's about what we're going over, I might answer it then. But Alt and H is the spot to do that. So you feel free to chat away, ask any questions, and again, if I don't get to those immediately, I am keeping an eye on that. So let's get started here. This is my test racetrack and my test series. So we're going to be using those to show how to add in our schedules, how that works with series, how that works in with everything that we're doing here in MyRacePass. So for each one, we'll just go into season management. Now, I've already done this, but if you haven't for the year, you'll need to create your 2020 season. So up here at the top, we can go to our past seasons. So we can see how all of my drivers did 2019, 2018 on back. But we can also add in a new season, which I've done here for 2020. And when we do that the first time, it'll take us to the configuration tab. Here we can change the name of the season if we wanted to. So if you have made it and you just don't like the name of that season, you can do that here. You're also able to change some dates around, but we're also able to add in a few different things. So let's take a look at the differences here between this. So both track and series will be the same. So we have a couple of different things here. So with my series, the series is able to add in tracks. Because I'm a test track, it won't let me add in more. But you add in the tracks that you're running at, and your classes are locked. So I only race sport compacts with this series, so that's good for me. So I've added in my sport compact class, MyRacePass did, and that's going to be the one that people know when they add that in. It's going to say that sport compact. It's going to add it to the list of classes. And same, I'm just adding in all of the tracks that I'm going to be racing at. So when I add in my schedule, I'm going to add in where I'm racing at and when I'm racing at that location. And that's how I build out the schedule. For the track side, works a little bit differently. So the track, we only have one track ourselves. We can add other series that are going to be racing with us. So I can hit add series. We can see all of the series that have raced with us in the past. We're also able to search past seasons and through all series here. So if we had a specific one that we wanted to add in, we could do that. It's just a type to search kind of deal. So if we wanted, I'm just kind of typing out letters. We could have that here and add that in. When we add in these series, each one of them have their own specific class that's linked to them. So for example, mine is the Sport Compact for this test series. The reason that we have that kind of linking there with the Sport Compact is that when we both add in our schedules and we add in those dates, it'll let us share in the entries, the lineups, the results, all that will share. So only one of us have to add that in as our for our scoring. So if I was a series, I could add all of this in and I could have the track scorers score that race along with all the other classes that they're running that night. And it will let me have all that information in there and ready to go. Now for tracks, we're also able to add in the classes that we're running. So I have a few already, but let's add in a couple more. So we'll add classes. Here we have the classes that I've run in the past through different series. So I can click on any of these and add them in. If I was running new classes, I could do that as well. So you can see that I have my classes that I've run before, different season classes, so it'll break it down by year. So let's say I ran lawnmowers in 2017, and I just really feel like I need to bring that back. We can do that. We can find that class specifically in there. We also have sanctioned classes. So new for some of you this year, depending on if you are a WSOTA track, IMCA tracks as well, and USRA has these. But each of these sanctions have their own specific classes. And for IMCA and WSOTA, these are actually going to be different than they were last year. For WSOTA, I've already gone in and changed all of your classes over. And we're actually changing over all the classes and all of the drivers. So when you're adding in WSOTA class, which I'm going to do right now, you'll see that you have these down here. These are the old ones. So these are the aim overrides. The new ones don't have anything underneath it. So a new WSOTA class will have this name right here for that class. So if I was running Midwest Modifieds for WSOTA, I would just click that and add it in. And now that's added onto the list of classes that I have. Again, if you are a WSOTA class, or if you are a WSOTA track, do not worry about this. We are taking care of a lot of this for you. But if you add it in your schedule or you're worried about it, reach out to us. We are going to make sure that you're using the right classes, but just so you know, we did change those classes over for you. Same with IMCA, we did change over those classes so that they're more special classes to IMCA. Now you might be asking, Devin, why did you do this? We did not do this just to confuse you. I promise. We did this specifically so that sanctions using sanction management can tell when you intend to have a sanctioned class and when you're having a special that's not sanctioned. So when we do this, if I'm using my Midwest Modifieds, if it is supposed to be sanctioned, when I'm adding events in on my schedule, I'll add it in as Midwest Modifieds. If it's not sanctioned at all, say it's a play date, say it's something completely different, we'd use a B modified. We do this just to cut down on the clutter that they're receiving at USRA. Less confusion, generally it will be for the best. So that's why you have those two classes there. Anybody that raced in the old classes, we're still going to keep those there. I want to copy over the list of the drivers there. So you're not going to lose out on anything. You probably wouldn't have noticed it had I not said anything, but that's why we did that. We'll go over it a little bit more in just a bit, but that's kind of the main thought there. We also can add other classes. So if you're not racing a sanctioned class, let's say, gosh, I'm always bad at picking out examples, but let's say we wanted to add in a kind of truck, we could do that. We have all different kinds of trucks that you're able to add in. You can add them. Now let's say, so I'm going to use this, a specific class here, the Sport Compact class. Now, Sport Compacts here, they are a front-wheel drive, generally 4-cylinder body car. Some people might call that a bomber. Some people might call that a Hornet. That's okay. You can actually go in here into manage classes, and you're able to change those names for those. So in this case, I just wanted to add in a little extra branding. So I have the MRP Dirt Late models, the MRP 305s, the MRP 360s. That's totally fine. I could add in a name override as long as it's not, you're not changing it to something completely different. So this might be a little bit of a bad thing here. The super stocks into pro stocks, depending on what I think that is, it could be a completely bad thing. So we're going to remove that. In general, you want to keep the classes consistent so that drivers can find those. So all of the results that you're doing, it's keeping track of it for the drivers end as well. So if I was to decide to run this snow bike in as a 410 wing sprint car, for whatever reason, if I just decided to do that, all of those results are now going to say snow bike, and it's not going to help the driver find those. It's going to be confusing for a lot of different people looking at it because it's not going to be able to be categorized correctly, all the different ways throughout the system. So we want to make sure that when we're doing these name overrides, we're doing them for just minor corrections or accounting for regional differences, as opposed to completely renaming a class to something completely different. So want to make sure we're keeping that good there. And again, if you have any questions about this or anything we're going over, Alt and H is the place to do that. That's going to be the chat window. That's going to let you chat in with any questions. We also have a special spot we're going to be doing for questions as we reach the end of the whole presentation. But just keep that in mind, Alt and H. If you do have questions, doesn't have to be about anything I'm going over right now, but I will get over to every question if you ask them. All right, so we have added in our schedule. Well, we're going to add in our schedule. Let's do some, we've added in the configuration. We've added in the series that are going to be racing with us. We've added in the classes that we're going to be running. So let's go right into our events. So I have here two different schedules. So we have two different schedules available here. The reason that we do that is so, let's say I have, I'm doing point average to keep track of things. A schedule is how that point average is kept. It's how it knows which ones are good for the point average and which ones are bad for the, or which ones don't count towards that point average. So all the ones in here count. Also, I can keep track of points at different spots. So if I wanted to keep track of these events here that we're running, these Fridays in February, we can do that, and all the points will be applied to a separate spot. So when you're doing that, keep that in mind. You can have as many different schedules as you want. If you want to keep track of different things there, you can also hide them so that only you are able to see those. But having multiple schedules is a very handy thing to do. The first time you do it, you can click Add Schedule up at the top here and add all of that in. You can see that you can make it inactive here. You can also reactivate it in this edit box, so you can do that in there. So let's add some events. So you can see here I have quite a bit of events. This is a pretty prolific little test racetrack that we have here. But we can hit this Add Events. First time you do it, it'll be the only option that you have, so it'll be pretty straightforward. And we can add in the events that we're going to be running. So let's add tomorrow in. March the 3rd, the 4th, let's do the 31st, April Fool's Day. Sounds like a lot of fun. So we can do that, add in all of our events. Let's add in every event that we have in the schedule. I'll hit next. And now we're going to see a few different things here. So we have that name of the event. So we can add so let's say add a catchy name to the event. So this is where we're going to do that. So we want to make sure that we actually really recommend adding in a different name to each one. Otherwise, it'll have this sort of 1/17/2020 event. We want to really promote it. We want to make it special. Every event is special. Every event's, could be someone's first race. So we want to make sure everyone kind of stands out for that. We also can set our opening time. So let's have the pits open at 5. Say the gates open at 6. Do hot laps at 7, and we'll start racing at 8, which is a little late, but it'll be all right. Then we can also set which classes we're going to be running on that day. So we're going to just pick from the list that we've put in here. If this was a sanctioned event, we would do that. So if you have things like play dates or test dates in the system, those aren't going to be sanctioned, so we would use our be modified here. And I'm actually going to avoid that. I don't want the folks at WISSOTA yelling at me for trying to sanction races. Anytime you use that specific class, it will ping them, any of those WISSOTA specific classes. So keep that in mind, so they'll know about it. We'll also do our Sport Compact there. That's actually going to be a date that they're running, that series is running. So we can even add in additional information, so we can add in a lot more information if we want. So actually, let's just say we're running it with your favorite series, and we'll hit add and next. and that's added in. And now it's our next event. So your favorite series isn't going to be racing there. So we'll take rid of that, and we're running late models. Then we'll add in our name. But you can see it's keeping track of the different pit opening times, gates open, things like that for us. So it'll remember that. So it's trying to save us some time. We'd hit add next. So I actually made a mistake. I didn't mean the 4th, so we'll discard that. Didn't want the 31st. You can also discard that down at the bottom there. And now those events are added in. They're ready to go. We can go to and skip to different portions of the event down here, or two of our events. And we can see a few different symbols here. So you can see my events that are completed. We have results. You can see this one I just added in an entry. This one doesn't have results, so it has lineups but no results. And this one's rained out. And these haven't happened yet, so they're running as planned. So let's say, we hate to see it, but let's say we have a rain out. Those do happen. We can actually go in here to the event status, and we can put that the event did rain out. And then we can also put in a message in the MyRacePass app. So this is actually something that's new for this year. If fans in the app favorite your track and you mark it as a rain out, it'll actually send in a message to everybody that put that as a favorite that we did rain out that night. So we can put that in there. It'll update everybody inside the app as a push notification, so fans will know. Just another way of notifying everybody. And then you are good to go. If we need to remove an event, so let's say this event here, we just need to get rid of it off the schedule. I clicked in on that event. You can see the schedule right here. We can just hit remove from schedule, and it'll remove it completely. And then when we go back to our schedule, we won't have an April event for that night. So a lot of different ways to kind of utilize that. Let's take a look at what it would look like for a series. So for a series, adding in events would be pretty easy. We'll just click add events. You can see those tracks that we say we're going to race at. So let's say we're racing at your favorite track. You're going to see it's pretty much the same process. So we picked that specific track. We pick all the different dates that we're running. So let's do the 18th, and then let's say the 1st of May. Add it in. So it might say here, you might see that it says this event already exists, so it won't make a new event. That's okay. That's working as expected. You saw me create that event. So it just means that everything's good to go there. We'll add it. We're good to go. Discard that event. And so now it's going to link this together for me in the system. So if you have any questions about schedules or how that will work, any specific questions, Alt and H is the place to do that. That'll bring up the chat window. Happy to answer any questions. And again, I'm going to be answering all the questions that you have that are in that chat window. So be sure to ask away. I had a question about how to delete an event or how to do that. So let's find an event to pick on. March 13th. Oh, that's Friday the 13th. That's unlucky. We're not going to do that at all. So we can either click this view or click in on this event. We can see everything here. We also can see the schedules. So this is this blue edit button, or remove it from schedule, and then it's gone. So it is no longer there. So if we were to go back to our schedule, Friday the 13th, very unlucky date, no longer on the schedule. No one, and since folks only see what events are going to be on the schedule, it's gone. So it is out of there. So let's take a look at registration now. We have our schedule set. We're good to go with that. So we're going to set up our different registrations. So right now I have set up a yearly registration. We have 3 different types of registrations in the system. We have yearly registrations, which is an annual registration, a single event registration, and a general registration. So yearly is the annual one. It'll keep track of that at every event that the drivers go to. A single event would be more for a big show. So if we have a special and a lot of folks are going to be out of town, or we're coming in from out of town, we're going to do that there. It's not going to add those drivers to the driver list. It is the big one. It'll add them to the contact list. It'll keep track of that, but it won't add them into that big event there, or into our big list of drivers, so it doesn't get clogged up there. General registration can be for a lot of different things. I've had folks use this for, if you have to register every single pit crew member, you might do a general registration. In any case, you'll pick that, add in the information about it. You can see I've added this in here. We can take a look here. Let's just edit it, and we can explain some of the different features that we have here. So we have our entry fee. So this is an entry fee that it would charge just the once. So if every driver had to pay a specific amount just to register in general, that's what you do. Let's say we had a different amount. So sprint cars have to pay $25, so we can put that in there. Same with the late fee. We can make that variable with that late fee. We link these up to PayPal, so we can actually collect payments in from PayPal if we want to collect all of those. We've reworked driver registration quite a bit, so it's going to look a little bit different. So let's take a look at this online registration right here. So you can see this is my online registration. I can pick a class, so let's say I'm going to register with an A mod. So any time that you do, as a driver, that you do this, it'll actually keep track of the competitors that have been claimed. So the drivers who claim their profile are actually able to select their information. So we have Cale Trickle here. He's done this. We'll hit next. It'll let me copy over past registrations. So I'm going to copy over information that I've done. So if a driver's done this before, it's going to be a lot faster for them to do. And it's just going to put in all the information down here at the bottom. So here's my driver, got nicknames, all of this information here. It's keeping track of their information. It's going to say it's added it in. So I confirm. We can actually change this terms and conditions here. Mine is the lyrics to La Bamba. Yours are probably a bit different. I'll show you where to do that. And we'll just complete the registration after we complete this, and we're good to go. So it's going to email me over that they did receive my registration. And then in our A modifieds, we have my driver here, and we can confirm them. And it's actually going to pull in a competitor for me. So it knows that Cale Trickle here claimed his profile, so I don't have to search for the competitor and find them. So we'll put in our number. Let's do that as 54. I'm going to allow him to duplicate it in this case. Otherwise, we could just reject that. Yep, they can add more than one class. So they can register for as many different things as they want. And depending on how you set that up, they can actually pay for all of it too. So that's why I showed that kind of base stats here. So the base pay, they only pay once. So if I set this for $50, and I register for more than one class, I only pay $50. If every class had its own fee that you have to pay individually, so if I was an A and B mod driver and each were $50, we'd just put that here. Does that make sense? So, all right. I'll continue on here. Jerry, I did see your question. I will get to that. They can't register for more than one track at the time. They have to go to each individual track, but you saw that it took me about 15 seconds to register. So they don't actually they can register for multiple tracks quickly because it's saving their information. So they still have to commit to registering for a track, and that's to actually prevent spam on your end, so that the driver just doesn't click every single track, even if they don't intend to race there. Because let's face it, some of your drivers would probably do that. I'd imagine. Would probably say that they do that. But now they don't have to type in everything over again. So it's keeping their information so they can register again. Really quick, actually. So we got our registration. That was our confirmation process, so it's a lot faster now than it was from before. So we're good to go there. And also, this is the same for series. So series registration is exactly the same. So we'd add in our class. And then those drivers could register. Same thing. So if Kale Trickle wanted to register for Sport Compact, your favorite series, he would do that. He's going to copy over his registration info that he did for his AMOD, copies everything over. This looks great. Continues. He would pay here, complete it. He's done. So they do have to pick which tracks they're racing at, but pretty fast. So it's keeping track of everything. So I did mention you can change the messages that they see. So you can do that right here. So you can actually have the welcome message. So it'll show up for their message for if you have any special instructions or things like that. You have that there. You also can see terms and conditions, which I don't have for the series, but you can add that here. All right, so the last thing that I'm going to show is adding online tickets and how that will work. So let's go to our events. We're going to pick a day to sell online tickets. It's going to actually show here all the events that don't have tickets are going to show up. This message right here. And we'll click that. So each event here, we'll find it. It'll be add tickets. So we can add more description, add when they're available to. We can actually sell them pre-sale. So if I wanted that anybody that bought them before Friday got a special price, I could do that. And we can see all the different sections that we have available here. These are renamable, so I can name these whatever I'd like. One I see a lot is the kids section gets named to kids 10 and up, 13 and up, things like that. We also can set availability, so how many we would like to sell, put in our price. This is a test racetrack, so I don't want people to find it. It's going to be there. We also can set a pre-sale price here. So let's save $50. It's $450. They're great seats, though. Real great seats. $200 for a kid's ticket. It's the experience of a lifetime. We cannot deprive them of that. We also can put in pit passes here. So the pit pass price, there's a lot of alliterative P's. Let's say it's also, it's $750 for the driver to do that. And then if they do that ahead of time, we'll put it at $700. Again, I don't want people to, these are good, these are live tickets. So you actually can find these now. They are available for sale. You can also see that I made a mistake and didn't put the pit pass availability. So I didn't add that in for me. I'm able to do that though. If I did want to change my mind, we can edit that here, add in more pricing here. So let's do a pit pass. Let's do 54 pit passes, 700. Yeah, let's just do that. And there they are. So all my ticket prices are added in here. We can see a few different things about those tickets when we're in here. If you want to see where I found this, so you can actually find your own ticket spot right here where it has tickets. It goes right into the individual event. And we can see a few things about it. So we can see that they are available when they're available too. We can see how many people have bought those. We can add in a picture for it. We also can put in a thank you message and coupons. So I've actually added in coupons to the vouchers that the fans will receive when they buy tickets for a few different things. So we can change those right here. You're able to do that. So let's take a look at an event that happened in the past. I'm actually going to disable this so people aren't able to find it. And I'm going to show you a past event here, so you can kind of see what it looks like. So here's the sold tickets. This would be who's bought tickets at the track for that night. So I have my list here. I'm able to separate this out. So if I just wanted the pit passes to go right here, I'd separate that out so I just see the pit pass guys. So if I give that to the back gate, we can cross it off. They can actually print off individual vouchers now. So we can cross out those individual vouchers right here. You also can go to the redeem window. And with that, you can actually scan the vouchers right here. So you could actually click and scan that voucher, and it'll check that voucher off of the list. At the end of the night, you would go in here to edit ticket status. It will text you a code based on what we have on file from you for the form that we sent. So it'll text you that code. Once you put in the code, say that the event ran, you receive the funds into your account the following Tuesday. We do that because we take care of any refunds and chargebacks for you. So you're able to do that. So North Central wanted to know if there's any way to add the tickets in bulk. There isn't currently a way to add everything in in bulk like that. You do have to kind of go into each one individually there. But that would be how we'd add in our ticket events. We can actually share those too. I highly recommend doing that. The more that you share, the better. So the more people that see the tickets and see that they're available online, the better. We'll do some work for you too. It's all going to be available on the MyRacePass app, so fans can actually find that app, or find the app, be sitting in the stands and buy tickets to next week's show right there, which is pretty neat. You also will have your own marketplace where you're able to sell t-shirts, and if you want to have apparel, you can sell apparel through us as well. And so you have your own marketplace to buy those. So a lot of different options there for you. A lot of different ways to do that there. So that went over everything there for you. I'm going to leave it open for questions. So if you do have any questions, again, Alt and H is the spot to do that. I'm just going to do that there. So leave it open for questions. So just reading your question, Jerry, about having a class which seems to be, are they the same car that is just kept track of two different ways? Or are they, how would you, so I guess my question is to ask another question, which is fairly rude, I am aware, but I just need to know a little bit more detail to answer that. Brandon asks, so if they're two different classes, you would find things that are pretty different, or you'd find things that are close, and then you could rename those. So you want to find things that they're really, really close. If you find or feel that the classes are different, or we don't have a class that adequately represents that class, reach out to us after this webinar. You're going to need to give me the rules for that class, and then we can take a look over those rules and find one that we feel is the closest to it. We can kind of work it out that way, or we can create a brand new one. So the way that I would keep people from making copies, so the main way that you would do that is you'd limit the will call windows to either a front and back gate. So they have to go through one way or the other to cross them off the list, or to do the redeem window, because when you do the redeem window and you click and scan that voucher, you can't scan them again. So they could try to scan it, but it would say, hey, they already used this ticket, so it's used. So that's how I would limit that, and just limit the kind of force them to go through one spot, and then you cross them off there. Those are great questions. Any other questions? Again, this is your time. Where I'll leave open the next few minutes here for questions about anything that you've seen so far. Alt-H is the place to do that. Excuse me. But yeah, for the tickets, again, too, this is a pretty huge one to have these on the voucher. The vouchers, the ticket voucher themselves, that's a great question. I don't have an example ticket voucher on me right at the moment, but generally it'll have these ad images on them. It'll have a barcode and then the information that they have from that event. So it'll say what they bought, what the name of the person who purchased the ticket is. So it'll have that information. It'll have a barcode that you could use in the redeem window to scan that out. And then the thing there. So you can actually use a lot of different kinds of scanners. So any scanner that hooks up to a computer will work. Generally with USB that can scan, because it's not a super special barcode. The question was where can you purchase the scanner and the approximate cost? There is a scanner that we recommend though. We recommend it for use across a lot of different ways. The reason we recommend that one in particular is because it can scan smartphones, which is nice. We do that for both the tickets and for the option here. We have a link. It's inside the knowledge base. So this has knowledge base here. This is the Amazon link to that. So after this is over, I can send you this, but you can find it here. And then it looks like it's about $79. Again, that's the one we recommend. You can find cheaper ones. For the scanner, the brand was SimCode MJ8200B, I suppose. So the scanner and approximate cost. And then again, that's just a scanner that's on Amazon. That's one we've personally used at a lot of different events for different things. There are definitely other scanners, so you're good to go there. So keeping track of attendance. So the way that I did that was to limit the number of ticket windows, and then I used these scanners here in the redeem window. Got to get that event back. Give me one sec here. So you actually have this redeem window here. You can actually scan these vouchers off and click them and then redeem. And then if someone tried to do that here, so it'll scan that too. So you can scan them. So if someone tried to scan that again, it'll tell me that it's already been redeemed. The sanctioned group comes in and they have a dirt late model of the class, but your class is already dirt late model. Can you share and score the event using their class? So are you both going to be running dirt late model at the same time? So is it a dirt late model and a dirt late model? Because if so, that's a class conflict, and we'd have to figure out what's kind of going on there, since they probably shouldn't be the two identical classes at the same time. And then points actually is handled on each end. So it does share the lineups, the results, the entries, and then the series can go in and apply their points, and then you can go in as a track and apply your own points. So if it's the exact same class that you're just counting as both, so it's kind of co-run, you can apply it to your own, and it'll apply as the same as any other event. Does MRP take a percentage of the sales of the tickets? No, you actually get 100% of the sale price of those tickets. So if my tickets here were $500 and someone did want to buy that, I would have gotten $500 for that ticket. There is a $1.90 ticket fee for the consumer. That's also the fee that because drivers get their own special links that they get $1 per ticket sold. That actually comes from that. So if a driver sells a ticket, you actually they get that. It doesn't actually come out of your pocket. You get 100% of that. So generally the ticket fee, and then there's a subtotal that's variable depending on the kind of credit card that they use. I really can't give exact percentages because tomorrow one of the credit card providers could decide to completely change everything. In general, know that it's only going to be a couple bucks for the consumer to buy a ticket via MyRacePass. And let me tell you, I wish everybody used MyRacePass for tickets. I've bought tickets to concerts, and if they were only $3, wow. But yeah, I can tell you about some of the ticket fees that I've encountered for things like, Def Leppard and things like that, different concerts, sporting events. Can you sell tickets through the driver profile? Yes. So every driver that puts on their schedule that they're going to be racing that specific day will have a link to tickets. So that's another place that we're helping you promote those tickets. So if you have a driver that says they're going to be racing there, they'll have their link to ticket. If a fan clicks that link, follows it, and buys through that link, if the driver has a MyRacePass plan, which starts at $7.99 for the month, I believe, $7 or $9, something like that, they get that $1 for each one that they sell. But otherwise, every driver that puts in their schedule, free for them to claim their profile and put that in there, put in their schedule, we'll have that information available and they can sell that for you. So highly recommend doing that too, letting your drivers know that they can claim their profile. Not only does it help them by keeping track of all of their information, so I'm just going to go to myracepass.com here. We're going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, and I'll show you, partially why we want to keep that. So we'll pick my driver here, Cal Trickle, Eagle Run, California. So we can see all of the different events that this driver has raced at. We're actually able to, right from the website, we can scan, find their profile in on MyRacePass so we can keep track of that, follow all of our drivers in here, and then we can go into the schedule results. And this would be, so Cale hasn't put in his schedule, but if he did, you could actually see all the events, and if it had that information there, you can buy that here. He's also able for free to update all of this information here for his site. So he's updated his crew, links, statistics, and it's keeping track of all of his stuff here for all of the different years in the past. So that's another reason we want to keep these class names pretty consistent, because these name overrides, they don't keep track of that outside, when it's inside of your guys' area, it does. But if we're looking here, he'd be really confused if he tried to add it in. And that's one of the many reasons you want to use that right profile name or a class that's pretty similar if you can. But great questions. Keep them up. We have another 10 or so minutes here that we're going to keep this open. If you are so inclined, we are doing another one here at 6:45, so in another half hour. Just going to be doing the late show. We are going to go over everything again, but if you do want to, ask all the questions, go through it again, I don't mind. You can definitely do that. We're doing that again, and then I'll also give the pitch for Wednesday. We're going to be doing two different shows for that one. 5:30 and 6:45 again. One's going to be with Soda Focused and Race Management, MRP Live with Soda, MyLaps Integration. The other's going to be IMCA Focused. So we're going to be doing kind of the same thing. So, feel free to hop in there. But we're going to be doing the lineups for Wasota. We're going to be doing the lineups for IMCA. If you are sanctioned, still attend. So, I am not sure if it counts towards Wasota's 6 webinar rule to show up to the late show. That's kind of their rule. It's not mine. So I don't want to get in trouble with Wasota. So I would ask the powers that be with soda before you do that. That was a Dakota Speedway question. Is there any place to add the driver's 1099 info? So the address information, that's going to be kept through the online registration. We do not store the tax ID information, so you do have to store that separately. So I'd recommend, there's a few different ways to do that. You also can have a form here on registration. So let's go back to our old friend Kale. We actually can assign him an MRP card, but we also can see the form, and you can actually print this off and keep track of tax ID information here first night. So yeah, looks like either webinar counts. Again, sort of Soda's rule. So I would keep track of that via with Soda. I am going to report to them who all was in attendance. So I believe different sanctions wanted to know, but I don't know if it counts both. So I just don't want to get you guys in trouble. Just looking out for you. But yeah, great questions that we have here. Alt and H, the place to do that. Again, we're going to be having these here throughout the month, and then all of this information, the place that you came in through. So this information is going to be the same for both. So you see that you have the early and the late show. You're going to use the same information, go to the same page to get into the show on Wednesday throughout the month there. So Linda, we're keeping track of attendance by having them write down their name and email inside the chat. I'm recording the chat, and then I'm going to be marking and keeping track of that that way. And actually, this seems like a pretty good place to do that. Everybody that does want to have their attendance tracked, that's going to be both for the promotion that we have running here for the attending 8 webinars, as well as for Soda Sanction. Just put in your name and the track that you tracks that you represent, and we keep track of it that way. And I will do that there. Awesome. Thank you. I see everyone's doing that. If you do have any questions, just hold off like a little bit because I might not see everything. So if you do have those questions, just we'll hold off a little bit. But like I said, I'll be keeping track of all of this here, and we'll make sure we take care of you. Again, Alt and H, the place to do that if you need to. And then, yeah, a lot of names I recognize, a lot of people I don't, but it's been great having you all here. I hope you all have learned a lot. If you guys, I assume all of you have access to get into the sandbox mode as well. You can practice inside the sandbox mode, as well as to reach out to us, support at MyRacePass.com. You're also able to get into the knowledge base there. I showed that off a little bit there. So, I think we still have a few more people there. So we're going to make sure we get that here for the transcript for the chat. But thank you guys for stopping in. Do appreciate that. And again, if you do want to show up to some of the other ones that we're going to be doing, we do have that available as well. Looks like pardon me there. Sorry, got distracted by a race. So Daytona. Don't tell my boss. I have that open here. Okay, so we're going to open it back up to questions. If anybody has any questions, it's a place to do that. We're going to do that here for 9 minutes here, so give me time to set up for the next one. The next one does, if you do want to show up to, the next one, it is going to be different call-in information for the late showing. So we did that to make sure that people didn't show up and get confused, and we didn't have the other some other things there. So yeah. So again, if you have any other questions, you can also see the yearly registrations down here at the bottom. So if you do have people register, it'll show you that as a kind of a warning there. So yeah, a lot of different ways. Yep. So the webinars will be posted onto YouTube. I'm going to post those tomorrow morning. All of the webinars will be on YouTube. We'll have a special playlist for each one of them. They will be there. We also have all of last year's webinars as well. And if you wanted to get to those from the dashboard, they're going to be right here. You can also go to myracepass.com/YouTube. That's going to bring in the videos that we have available for y'all. So we're going to leave it open for a little bit more for questions. So if you have any questions, just ask them now. I did record everybody's name down, so thank you for that. I'll have credit for those. Like I said, Wednesday will be the race management one. So we are going to be going over a WISSOTA-specific race and an IMCA-specific race, so using their rules. So we'll go over those. Again, if you're not sanctioned by those folks, still great to attend to just have more understanding of how to do it. The principles are going to be the same for you guys to how to do all of that. So, and then looks like next Monday we're doing MRP Live troubleshooting for the early show, and then we're doing points for the late show. So we're going to have a kind of a different, we're going to mix them up. I got a question about drivers registering. Do they have to register every year or just new drivers to the track? That is track discretion. Some tracks have literally everybody register again just to make sure that they catch if a driver's moved or they have the information in, just to make sure that they get everybody. Others don't and just do new drivers. It is entirely your discretion as to which one works best for you. Kind of a wishy-washy answer, but I have never actually found two racetracks that are exactly alike. So just kind of some of the better things. Don't remember all the webinars I registered for. I don't have to, if I don't pre-register 10 to 8. So if you were, I believe the rule was that you do have to pre-register. I can double check on that. I didn't actually create the promotion. If you do double up, that's okay. If there's a duplicate one, if you really want to double check and make sure you do them again. Supposed to turn everyone to inactive so we don't have the entire field of last year's drivers. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Some tracks do set everyone to inactive. Others just use the, in the entry list, there is a thing at the bottom corner, and it'll tell you if they've registered for the year or not. That actually gets you a little teaser for next Wednesday. I will actually show that off. But that's also the place that'll show if they have a US or a WISSOTA license. So some folks just actually use that and use the confirmation there. Others do set it as inactive and want to make sure that they get literally everybody. Again, it's kind of up to you as to which one to do that. So the link to get into the sandbox is going to be different for everybody, but when you log into your admin page, you'll scroll all the way down here, and it'll have that test and sandbox, and it'll have the open sandbox, and you can tell it's in the open sandbox because it has this just lovely shade of blue that is very, very bright, very active, really pops. So that's yours right there. That's how you know you get into the sandbox. So it's different for everybody, so I can't give out one universal link to the sandbox, but you can find it down here in the dashboard when you log in. But I'll be getting me wrapped up here so I can get set up for the next webinar. Y'all have been great. If you do have any questions, again, I'm going to leave it open for just a few more minutes. So speak now, or I guess wait till the late show. If you want to do that, Alt and H the spot to do it, and we can get you going, ready to rock and roll here. Leave it open for another minute or so. All right, well, I think I'll be wrapping it up for now. Everyone have a great night. If you do want to show up to the late show, that's going to be happening in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, it's going to be great. I promise. I'll try to mix up the jokes too. So, I won't use all the same material. Y'all have been great. Thanks so much for watching. Again, this will all be on YouTube in the morning. So have a good one.